Today I am carrying on with my closet renovation and installing some linoleum. Hey guys, how's it going? So, linoleum wasn't my first choice to install here. Ideally, I would have used color-matched hardwood. A, expensive, and B, couldn't find it. Went to several different flooring stores to look for it, and no luck. My next choice would have been laminate or vinyl flooring, but if you think I was able to find anything that matched this color, you are mistaken. Same story as the hardwood. So, scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but luckily I had enough linoleum left over from when I did my basement renovation 4 years ago. It was still in pretty good condition, and it was a decent enough match to what we had installed in the kitchen floor already. It's not an exact match, but it's close enough, and being behind a closet door, it's not going to stick out like a sore thumb. To start this project off, I first taunt the cat with the tape measure. Okay, don't pull on it, you're going to cut your face open. And after ruining that tape measure, I actually get started. Off camera, I cut this plywood scrap to bridge the gap in the subfloor and tack it down to the slat floor with some brad nails, angling the gun with each nail to pull it down more and to try and prevent it from pulling back out over time. Then before moving on to the next step, I vacuum out any debris and make sure that the dried plaster blops are removed before dropping a sheet of OSB down on top of the subfloor. The OSB is to bring the top of the closet floor up closer to the top of the hardwood. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely closer than it would have been otherwise. I might have gone something a little thicker, but I'd already had this OSB scrap on hand, so I made it work. And again, another scrap to bridge the gap. I'm not sure why, maybe the cat chewing on my tape measure might have had something to do with it, but the edges of the OSB really didn't meet up properly. This might have not been the best way to fix it, but it was what I had on hand. I just used some drywall plaster to smooth everything out, which worked quite well for what I wanted it to do in my opinion. With the plaster dried, I break out the pad of paper and painter's tape and map out the exterior of the closet, bringing the paper up close to the walls, but not all the way. Figured if my puppy was confused with what I was doing, you guys might have been too. With the paper placed all the way around, I grab my square, butt it up to the wall, and trace out the interior of the square. This gives me an offset measurement without actually having to measure. Just make sure you're using the same edge of the square each time. Now I have a template of the closet floor I can place onto the lino where I want it. With the line traced out, I pull the paper out and set it in place on the linoleum I'd already rolled out on the bedroom floor to relax. Once it's set, I can start tracing out the line on the exterior of the square. This is why I didn't place the paper all of the way into the walls. This way I'm drawing right on the lino and I know exactly where I need to cut. With the line drawn out, I can get rid of the paper, and I have my exact floor template drawn onto the lino, where I just have to cut it out with a utility knife. The downside of cutting the lino on carpet is that it ended up being slightly bigger than I needed to because the lino wasn't perfectly flat. That's okay. Better too much than too little. I just needed to trim a little bit off the edges to make it fit perfectly. With the lino cut to proper size, it's time to glue the lino down, where I go with the King's Find woodworking method of just the right amount of glue, and apply the flooring adhesive to half the OSB with a flooring trowel. Flip the lino onto it, flip up the other half, and repeat the process.
Now that looks like just the right amount of glue.
After the adhesive is applied, I break out the roller and roll the entire sheet of lino into the OSB to make sure that everything bonds. And based on the amount of adhesive that's squeezed out, I might have used a little bit too much. And with that, it's pretty much done. We made sure to stay off of it for about 24 hours, which this puppy gate worked out pretty well for, and we were good to go. I'm not sure if this is because of the excess adhesive or that I used OSB as the subfloor, but I'm honestly not entirely happy with the look of it. Linoleum is really good at translating any sort of texture from the surface underneath to the top of the linoleum. It happened in my basement bathroom as well, where the texture from the old linoleum I glued over top of ended up translating through to the top, and it looks like the texture from the OSB is translating through the top of this as well. I guess what I could have done is use the plaster to do a bit of a skim coat over the entire sheet of OSB and then sand it and try and smooth it out as much as possible, but I didn't do that. Texture transfer issue is definitely a good thing to keep in mind if you are doing this in an open area. That being said though, in this circumstance, the only time that you're able to see it is if you're standing right in the closet looking directly at it while the light bounces off of it in a very specific way. But that'll only be an issue until I get the closet organizer built and installed, and in which case you won't be able to see it. And if it's out by now, you can check that out up here. And with that, I'm going to call it a video. Thank you all for watching, and if you like what I'm doing here, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you have any questions or comments, I look forward to reading them in the comment section below. And if you want to see more up-to-date projects, you can always follow me on Instagram at John the Schreiner. Otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video, and have a good one.